Hello there, comic book fans. I figured on this Christmas day I will give you guys a look at some of my Christmas presents. I've got 8 new graphic novels. Since I have a family that likes Christmas and birthday lists, I use my Amazon wish list and throughout the year, put on a bunch of things that I find interesting, and they often pick off them to get me gifts at Christmas or birthday time. So I got a bunch of them this year. This is the first of them. I don't know much about this. Jonathan Case, The New Deal. These are Dark Horse Originals. I don't know much besides what I read on the back, which is all about, it takes place in the Waldorf Astoria in the 1930s and involves some petty thievery, and the staff gets involved, and I think it's a slice of life sort of one. And the artwork is beautiful. Like I said, I'm not familiar with Jonathan Case at all. I probably saw this on a preview or something, but boy, he does some nice work. Sort of a classic Milton Caniff cartoon realism type style. But wow, and it's in, just look at that scene right there. Very nicely done. In black, blue, and white here. And I'm looking forward to reading this one. Oh, there's a nice. He does great expressions. And just, like I said, I've never read any that never read anything by Jonathan Case. I'm looking forward to this one because it's so darn good looking, and I'll let you know how it is when I finally get around to reading it. And our second book here is a big hunkin' volume, Bacchus Volume 1. Holy cow, look how thick that is, and it's a heavy book by Eddie Campbell. And this I have read some of the stuff in. And I remember reading a review of this book. It's a collection of a lot of his Bacchus strips from over the years. I don't know how familiar you are with Eddie Campbell. He's done a lot of work. Black and white stuff. Bacchus is the ancient Greek god of wine or some such, and there's all sorts of crazy stories about him through the years over. That's Bacchus right there with his wine glass. But I can remember the review of this was kind of mixed, and I can remember that was kind of my review of Bacchus too, in that Dark Horse Presents, the first volume, used to had a group of Bacchus stories in it that were really good. I read some other Bacchus stories that were okay, and some were I didn't like. But overall, like I said, those Dark Horse Presents Volume 1 stories alone made this worth it for me. I haven't read those in a long time, and I'm looking forward to see it. I think there's a lot of short story stuff too, so it's not really sit down and read it all at once. It's read a Bacchus story here, read a Bacchus story later kind of book. So I'm looking forward to sitting down with this one. I haven't read any Eddie Campbell and Bacchus. Oh, Eddie Campbell was the one who illustrated what was that? Alan Moore's Jack the Ripper story, which I cannot remember the name of right now, that they made the movie out of with Johnny Depp. Oh, I don't know. It's slipping my mind, but Eddie Campbell was the one who illustrated that, as well as writing and drawing a lot of stuff of his own. So this one will probably have some good stuff in it. Next, we'll move on to a book about comic books. This one is Leaping Tall Buildings: The Origins of American Comics. Christopher Irving words, Seth Kushner pencils. Unfortunately, I think Seth Kushner actually passed away recently at a young age. He's the photographer in this. There's the original art from the first Beta Ray Bill. But it's just a little history of comics. Chris Claremont interviews with a whole bunch of people in comics. Larry Hama, there's Scott McCloud, and photographs. It's a photo book and a history book. So this is the kind of stuff I find interesting. That must be the Mike Allred chapter. So this chapter on some old timers, some new timers. Jules Pfeiffer, nice picture of him. Kim Deitch. Like I said, this is I find this interesting. Oh, I bet that's a Joe Simon Captain America. I wonder if that's Joe Simon. But anyway, this is a book about comics, Leaping Tall Buildings. It's gotten good reviews. I'm sure it's fine. I'll enjoy reading it because I like the history of comics and the people who made them. I want to put these two books together because they're both by Rick Geary. This is his Treasury of 20th Century Murder volume. And I'm not sure what this one... I mean, it's called Louise Brooks Detective. She's an actual historical figure. She was the actress from the 1920s. But usually he does these non-fiction, like Lover's Lane, The Halls Mills Mystery. I'm sure this was some 20th century murder mystery, because this is actually... I have 15 Rick Geary books on my shelf, so this makes 16 and 17, and I really like them all. He does mostly sort of non-fiction history stuff. He's got this cartoony style where he just goes through. I love his storytelling. I love his drawing style. He just goes through and kind of tells you about a historical murder mystery. Sometimes I think not a mystery, but sometimes just a historical murder or a crime. And it's a very sort of straightforward style. I really like them a lot. Some people find them, too dry or whatever, because they're not action oriented. They're not they're not plot oriented. They're history oriented, which is I love history. I read history books all the time. So comic book, history books in comic book form is right up my alley. So, like I said, I enjoyed the other 15 of these. I'm sure I'll enjoy these. And if you like non-fiction murder stories, really check out these Rick Geary books. And now we'll move on to Emmanuel Guibert's Allen's War, Memories of G.I. Allen Cope. This one was actually, I made a video a while ago of Jason Lutz Berlin, and in the comments section, who was it? It was Rangersley, who is a commenter, but I don't think he makes videos on YouTube. But he asked me if I had ever read this one, and I was like, no, I'll look it up. So I looked it up and found it on Amazon, put it on my wish list, and here at Christmas time it is. It's a memoir of a GI in World War II done as a graphic novel. It's supposed to be very good. I think it won some awards here or something. NPR Best Book of the Year, PW Best, Oregonian Best. So won quite a few awards for me never having heard of it before Rangersley told me about it. But yeah, it looked nice, so put it on the list, and I look forward to reading it. The next one we have is Whispers by Joshua Luna. Let's see. What's on the back here? Suddenly empowered with the supernatural ability to leave his physical body in ghost form and manipulate others, Sam Weber confronts a terrifying prospect. Humans do not have as much free will as they thought. When the line between reality and dream is blurred, all hell breaks loose. But anyway, now you know as much about it as I do. Joshua Luna is one of the Luna brothers. He is not the one who just did Alex and Ada. That was Jonathan Luna. The two of them have done together, Girls and The Sword that I know of. Oh, there's one other that I can't think of. There was a shorter one they did before that. But I noticed in flipping through that his art is a little more illustrative than their teamed up art and by Jonathan Luna's art. It's still got a little bit of that cell shaded quality, but it looks a little more photo-referenced or something. But like I said, I generally like, I've liked the Luna Brothers stuff, so this is one of their, on their own doing some stuff, so I'll let you know how it is. Oh, she's got a lizard eye looking through at you. But anyway, we'll looking forward to giving this one a read. And here we go with another honkin' big thick one, little shit Japanese comics. Some manga, Spiral into Horror, Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This is one of those that reads backwards because it's Japanese, so we start from the right and read to the left. I think I read a free comic book day piece on this. It was called Spirals, and it was about this girl who sees spirals everywhere, and the town is haunted by somehow by a shape, by spirals. And I'm a fan of spirals. I'm forever drawing them. What's funny about I haven't read the manga in a while. Oops. These ones are nicely illustrated. Let's see that binding. Binding seems okay, just opening it. It's a little stiff. Ah, scary. But it's funny that this one reads left to right. I can remember in the 80s when they first started bringing Japanese comics over, Mai the Psychic Girl, Kamui, Lone Wolf and Cub. They actually took a lot of work because they would have to take them, flop the pages, turn the word balloons around, and sometimes when they did these crazy, which was like a page like that would be easy to flop since it's all, but pages with angles in them and things like that, they'd have to try to figure out how to turn around, art correct them, have them relet until they figured out that the American audience can pretty easily pick up on how to read right to left, and they just started publishing them this way, just how they appear in Japan, where like I said, you just have to read it backwards. You start on this side, you go to here and across like that, and it's easy to pick up. It's not like, it's a little strange at first, but after a few pages, you just pick it up and you go with it. It's not so weird, so don't be afraid of picking up any of these Japanese books that are right to left, because it's not that hard to pick up on them, and I look forward to reading this one. And finally, we're going to end with Red One. I actually bought this one in the single issues, but I wanted the giant oversized album too, because this Terry Dotson art looks beautiful. Especially in this, I think it just looks beautiful in this European graphic album format. And they said what they plan to do with this is they're going to release 2 or 3 issues a year, and then release it, like I think they said around Christmas time or fall, in this European oversized graphic album format that's hardcover. And it just, the story was all right. It was nothing spectacular, but it really looks so much better in this format. It's about let's see, Soviet agent Vera. Well, you can read that yourself. It's about I think it takes place in 1977, where the Soviets send over a bombshell actress superhero who's also a super soldier to be I think she becomes America's greatest superhero, but she's really a red spy or something like that. But like I said, the story was okay. But it's the art that's beautiful, and in this format, it looks even more beautiful. So I think next year I'm just going to be picking up. Probably not going to get the single issues and just get the graphic album format, or we'll see. That's to decide when it, if and when it ever comes out again. But I really like the looks of this one. But anyway, there are some things that I got from my family for Christmas. So hope you have a Merry Christmas out there, and have a good time, and read some comics, because I got plenty of comics to read now, and I'm going to have to get to it. Y'all have a Merry Christmas out there.